Gina Carano just flipped the script on Hollywood. Now, Gina Carano is now backed by one of the most powerful legal minds in the country, and that's bad news for Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy. Now, this isn't just some small lawsuit anymore. You see, the case of Gina Carano is going nuclear with major free speech implications that could wreck the very system that Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger built. And guess what? Gina Carano is not backing down. You see, she's going all the way with, and Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy should be terrified. Now, this pro hack on Vice filing with, well, that means that Eugene Bullock, as part of Gina Carano's legal team, is not some throwaway legal procedure. This is a seismic shift, basically. And Bullock isn't just, some random lawyer. He's a respected law professor with deep roots in the conservative and libertarian movements. Now, someone who lives and breathes free speech, basically. And for Gina Carano to have him on board means that this lawsuit isn't just some publicity stunt. It's real and it's targeted. And it's being treated as a precedent-setting case. Now, on the other hand, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy may have thought that they could sweep Gina Carano under the rug, but instead, they're watching a legal nightmare unfold. Now, if you're wondering why this matters, it's because Gina Carano, she isn't just going after Disney. She's exposing the entire right-hand structure that Bob Iger built and that Kathleen Kennedy weaponized. Now, this case is not about, a contract dispute. It's about political discrimination in the entertainment industry. And California's UNRUH Act gives Gina Carano the legal footing to challenge what happened to her, and Disney's worst fear is that she actually wins. Now, that terrifies Bob Iger and even Kathleen Kennedy because it means that entire ideological, purge and stuff might finally hit a wall. And let me be clear about one thing. Carano already survived the first round where she won the motion to dismiss, and that's also massive. You see, Disney tried to go ahead and kill this case early, and they failed. And Iger's team wanted a shortcut to avoid discovery, to avoid jury, to avoid the truth getting out. And the judge said no. And now Eugene Volokh stepping in means that basically this case is accelerating towards something much bigger than just Hollywood gossip. And this is about the Constitution. This is about free speech, and it's finally holding Kathleen Kennedy and Iger accountable for their ideological tyranny, basically. Okay? Now, Volokh joining the team isn't just symbolic. You see, it changes the entire legal strategy. Now, here's a guy who could have easily argued on Disney's side, defending their corporate right to fire whoever they want, but he didn't. He's actually standing with Gina. And that tells you everything you need to know. Now, even legal scholars who usually lean toward corporate rights understand that, corporate rights understand that what Disney did to Gina under Iger's leadership and Kennedy's supervision was political discrimination. Plain and simple, okay? But honestly, what's wild is how few people in the mainstream media are talking about this. And this is not an accident, as I said. You see, Iger and Kennedy rely on a complicit media to suppress stories like this, but Elon Musk isn't having any of it. His legal funding of Carano's case proves that, there's a powerful counterforce willing to take on these corporate bullies. And it's not just a lawsuit. It's a cultural war, and the people who think they're untouchable, people like Iger and Kennedy, are finally facing resistance that actually matters. And this timing couldn't be, more poetic, basically, because the trial is scheduled to begin right around the time the next Star Wars movie is supposed to hit theaters. Now, that's the same franchise and stuff that Gina was supposed to be a part of until Kennedy just booted her over a tweet. Imagine that. Gina Carano's court case dominating headlines while Iger and Kennedy try to push their next woke star and stuff. A Star Wars disaster. Now, you couldn't script a better moment of accountability, basically. It's the universe delivering justice, apparently. Or simply put, reaping what they've sown. Now, Gina Carano isn't just a symbol. She's a litmus test for whether the courts still have free speech And also Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy bet everything on the idea that they could fire someone over politics and never face consequences. But as I said, California's UNRUH Act stands in their way. That law was designed to protect people from being discriminated for political beliefs. And now Disney's own leftist stronghold may be the very thing that blows up in their face. Because if Gina Carano proves that, they violated that law, well, it's open season on Hollywood's cancel culture machine. And this is why Eugene Volok's involvement basically actually matters. You see, the man isn't just some academic. Judges know who he is. He brings weight to the courtroom. Now, when someone asks, someone like him attaches his name to a case, the entire legal landscape shifts. And this is a clear signal that Gina Carano's case isn't just going to trial. Is going to be noticed, studied, and potentially escalated all the way to the Supreme Court. And honestly, if that happens, well, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy could just go down in history as the faces of the losing side against the Gina Carano in one of the most important First Amendment battles of our generation. I mean, just think about the ripple effect, if Gina wins, it sends a message to every studio, every executive, basically, and every woke, HR department in Hollywood that you're not immune. You see, you can't fire people who are actually thinking differently and stuff. And if you do, you get sued into the dirt. That's what Bob Iger fears. That's what, keeps Kathleen Kennedy up and all night. Because once this case cracks the door, the floodgates are coming, basically. Now, as I said, Elon Musk backing this effort makes it even more dangerous for Disney. You see, he's not just some rich guy tweeting memes, he's actually putting his money where his mouth is, funding lawsuits that challenge censorship, backing legal teams that scare the establishment. I mean, he actually understands the stakes. If corporations like Disney can control speech through employment, well, they can control society basically. And we've actually seen that from time to time from different entities. And that's why he's funding Carano, because she's standing up in the biggest name to the biggest name in entertainment. Bob Iger, and calling out the most insufferable executive in Hollywood, which is Kathleen Kennedy. And no matter how much Bob Iger tries to go ahead and spin it, this is not a simple PR problem. It's a legal crisis. The longer this drags on, the more documents that Disney has to reveal. Eternal memos, emails, decisions made by executives like Kathleen Kennedy could actually end up in the courtroom. And this isn't just speculation. I mean, it's discovery. No hint, no pun intended. And discovery is where corporations like Disney panic because truth is apparently the enemy. All right. But the corporate media won't say it. But this trial with Gina Carano could change everything. So for far too long, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy have ruled by fear. Speak out and you're done, basically. Step two, out of line. Step out of line and you're blacklisted. Gina Carano said no, and now she has been doors. Okay, let's get what's the core of this. Gina Carano was fired for expressing opinions that millions of Americans seem to agree with. That's it. I mean, that's the whole story right there. No misconduct, no breach of contract. Just Gina Carano, basically, who's a conservative, who said something on social media and paid the price for it and stuff. And Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy tried to go ahead and make an example of her. And now Gina Carano is basically the one holding the torch, lighting the way for others, okay, who've been silenced and blacklisted. Which is bigger than Disney. I mean, this is about every corporation that thinks it can act as judge, jury, and executioner over someone's political personal views. And with Eugene Volokh now on the field, the rules have changed. And Bob should be worried. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy should be nervous also because Gina Carano is not firing back. I mean, fighting back. She's not just fighting back, she's changing the game itself. And we're also watching history unfold basically. And if this case ends with a win, it won't be, basically just be a victory for Gina Carano. It'll be a body blow for the authoritarian culture Kathleen Kennedy helped build and Bob Iger kept alive. Okay. The days of canceling someone without consequence may be finally over, and we'll have Gina Carano to thank for that. So, write this in the comments below. Be sure to